Welcome back to Loftside Bantr. On today's show, we have a big group of guests joining me. Marina is back, and you may remember her from the episode where we spoke about the New Hampshire Rebellion, the Women's Tackle Football League. When she isn't playing football on the field, you can find her behind the scenes of the Granite State Destroyers as their team's manager. She brought with her tonight new head coach Raymond Rizzi and two of their players, Tyler Jameson and Aaron Davis. We'll get into some group discussion with them and then some individualized questions so that way we get to know them. And then later in the show, we'll talk a little bit more Final Four for the men's basketball tournament. We'll look at the women's tournament a little bit. And then we'll go into some sporadic sports stories for the end of this episode. And then we'll also kind of get into where the show is going to head after this. We're going to have a lot of recordings coming up in the next few days. And with that, off to the show. Welcome to Loftside Bantr, and on tonight's show, as mentioned in the opening, we have quite a group of guests today from the Granite State Destroyers, semi-pro football team from the East Coast Football League. A little bit of history of the team. The team's been around since 2013. They've made the playoffs in 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, and they actually were the league champs in 2019. They play out of Manchester, New Hampshire, and we have kind of a newer announcement today as their social media just today announced their new head coach, and his name is Raymond Rizzi, and he'll be on the show tonight, and we'll be asking a lot of questions of him and the players and what their history with the sport is, how long they've been playing, and all that fun stuff there so we can get a good kind of understanding of who they are and what makes up this great football team. We got everybody here and signed on, so let's start introducing them. We have two of the players from the Granite State Destroyers. We also have their new head coach that was announced today. So I'm breaking some news as well. So head coach Raymond Rizzi, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And then we have...
Appreciate you having me.
You are welcome. Tyler Jameson is one of the players that we have on as well.
Yes. Thank you very much for having me as well.
And Aaron Davis is the other player we have.
Yo. How's everybody doing?
So with this whole group of people here, and don't worry, Marina, I haven't forgotten about you, okay? I did say in the opening that you would be on. I do have you in the opening, don't worry. But so the Granite State Destroyers, as far as I know, and what I kind of have said in the opening as well, is you were established in 2013. What kind of is the history of this team?
Yeah, so the Granite State Destroyers were established back in 2013. Prior to that, we were known as the Granite State Knights. We competed in the Eastern Football League for, I believe, 3.5 years. Before that, the core of the group came from a team called the Manchester Devils. We played at Southern New Hampshire University for a few years. We also played at Gill Stadium. But basically, we started off as the Manchester Devils. We progressed to the Granite State Knights and ultimately the Granite State Destroyers. We've been around this is our 12th season. We were the 2019 ECFL champions and also the national champions, which was Aaron Davis, who's here, was part of that team. So I'll let Aaron talk a little bit about that because he was part of that program when they were that team.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great year. I mean, I think it just kind of came together eclectically. I think it just started like any other year. That was my first year. I just moved here. I'd only been here for 2 weeks and joined the team. And I mean, we just had some dogs. There was just like a mixture of people. And I think there was a trust there that I think that GSD really stands for. There's a trust in a familiar, like a family-based orientation that the team has. So I think that the chemistry and getting to the playoffs every year is really indicative of the trust that the team kind of builds together each year.
Now, was this rebrand recent, or is this something a couple of years ago? But how long have you been the Destroyers?
So we've been the Granite State Destroyers. So this is our 12th season as the Granite State Destroyers. We started off playing our games in Raymond, New Hampshire, over at the Norrock Pop Warner Field. We played there for, I want to say, up until 2019. We were part of the New England Football League for the first few years that we were around. We started off in the single A division, which is kind of like a developmental league. We moved up to double A. Back in 2017, we competed in the double A chip. We did not win that chip. And then we were moved up to triple A, which is the premier league for the New England Football League. After our AAA season, we moved over to the ECFL, where we competed, and that was the first year that they won it in the ECFL, and we competed there for, I want to say, 4 years, and then now we're back in the NEFL as the AAA division.
Gotcha. So now, how does a team like this come together? How does recruitment work? How does finding players to compete with this team? How does that all come together?
So we got a mix. We got a large mix of veterans on this team. A lot of word of mouth. But the nice thing about this particular team in general, and even last year, is we got a lot of young kids right out of high school, got to college, and the experience ranges from, some people playing with college experience, playing D1, D2, D3, to people playing from high school, right out of high school, playing with us, taking a couple years off. And we even have some kids on the team that have never played football before. So really the common factor between all the players here is we all love playing football. We all love doing this as a hobby, right? And we all take pride and passion in what we do. And that's something that we really promote among this organization, is we want to make sure that, one, we're giving everybody the ability to play the sport that they love, while also providing them, a place where they can continue to grow, not only as football players, but as men in life.
Now, Aaron and Tyler, what does it mean for you guys to be? What does it mean to be part of this team and be part of the history that is the Granite State Destroyers? Obviously, winning the league back in 2019 and continuing on.
Tyler, you got this. Since I answered the first one.
I just honestly, Granite State Destroyers, I've been on the team a couple times. I used to live in New Hampshire, so it was a little bit easier for me. I currently live in Boston now, so I travel quite some ways. But the players, the new head coach, Rizzi, that I've known for over 10 years now, people like Aaron have made it a home. It's a place where you want to go to practice. You want to show up on game day and give it your full effort. You want to help the team succeed. You want to help them build and be great, while also giving, kids an outlet to continue playing sports. And GSD represents all those things that I want to contribute to, which made my decision to come back here pretty easy. It's worth the hour-and-a-half drive, and any other players, that want to come along, we'll learn that throughout the season. We're here because of commitment. Aaron's on our live right now because he's committed to this team. Rizzi's been playing football for his whole entire life, and he's committed to even coaching now because GSD has mattered to him in his lifetime. Aaron's back here because it's something that he loved, and it's something he wants to be a part of again.
1,000%. And for me, it's easy to decide to be here because I think that when it comes to life, you're hitting multiple nails on the head all at the same time. I think it's a beautifully eclectic mix of things, like being able to help the maturation process of young men as they, come out of high school, or the first couple formative years outside of 17, 18, 19, 20 and up. And then also it merges into that mix of, I think some of us need it. Somebody said that at the meeting over the weekend, is that I think we need it. We need something to look forward to, something to motivate, something to inspire. Even in my workouts, and I'm sure for Tyler too, it's like the reality is you're playing a contact sport, so it's kill or be killed. It really is. So you got to keep yourself sharp. You got to train yourself and make sure that you're, to the best of your ability, putting yourself in the best physical condition that you can. And it gets harder to do the older you get. So having that why factor is, it's great, and it keeps you sharp, it keeps you happy, and it gives you something to look forward to in a real way. Strapping it up and putting a uniform on, for those that have done it, you understand that feeling.
So now, where do the games take place? Where do you guys play out of?
We play at St. Anselm's College is our home field.
And that's over in Goffstown, if I'm not mistaken, right? Goffstown, New Hampshire?
Goffstown, Manchester. Yeah, Goffstown,
okay.
Manchester line.
Yeah. Now, can anybody just show up and watch the games when they're on? Is there tickets or anything else like that?
Yeah, so we sell tickets at the gate. We average, past 2 years, the numbers have been down for attendance, but we probably average between 60 to 100 people at the games, maybe a little less than that. But that's where we average, and we're looking to grow that. So we're collectively as a board, we're looking at doing more things for the Pop Warner brand, doing more things for the youth, trying to get more the community involved in our games. So that's something that's going to be very important. I can let Marina talk about that a little bit because she's part of that board and she's part of that group to help grow our influence more so from the just bringing semi-pro players and their families, but we want to outreach to the community as well. And I'll let Marina talk more about that.
Yeah, so I am the secretary of the board. I also do all of the social media postings, things like that. This year we are focused more on giving back to the community and stuff. So I've started reaching out to different places to volunteer. I have a few friends from my network that are radio hosts. I have a couple that are over at like Channel 9 WMUR, which is the local station here. So we'll be reaching out. We're waiting to see who we're playing at our first home game. We're going to try and make that a big event if we can. Just lots of extra stuff, kind of bring Manchester back to come watch it. And, maybe one of our coaches, he is a coach for the Derry youth team. And we're going to see about him bringing his kids over, just to try to integrate the teams together. So, kind of like a big brother type thing, but in football.
That's it. Now, while I have you here, Marina, at the forefront, social media website, where can people go to get some of that information?
So we have a Facebook page. It is under Granite State Destroyers on Facebook. I'm in the process of rebuilding our website. So that's taken up some time, but soon that'll be up. You can also go over to the NFL website. They have game schedules and things like that posted for people to see.
And I just want to add something too. I want to give a shout out to Marina. We've that's kind of an area that we've really lacked in the past few years is really marketing our team and showing the ability of what we have to offer. And, she came on board with us this past off season. She's been involved the past year or two, but she really came and became involved this past year. And she's been great. And I really do owe her any success that we have in the off season to her because she does put a lot of time and effort and she puts up with a lot of BS from us, right? From the guys in the bod, and we put a lot on her. So I just want to give her a shout out and give her credit that's due.
I actually was just sending out a contract for 2 players as we were
talking. So how do people get recruited for this? Can you apply for it? Is it something that you go to different schools for, or reach out to people? How do you get players to basically sign up to play for the Granite State Destroyers?
We have Tyler threaten them.
Grocery store, I'm like, hey, you look like you might be able to do something. What's up? Yeah.
We do a lot. We do a lot of graphic flyers, just posting on social media, posting in different groups. A lot of the guys reach out to their friends, or vice versa too. I've had people that are like, hey, my friend sent me your info. I know you work with football teams. Like, how can I get involved? But if you reach out to us on social media, one of us will answer you. It'll probably be me, but one of us will answer you.
Now, I have some individual questions and stuff here for everybody. I'm going to start with head coach Rizzi, if you don't mind. What kind is what does your coaching career kind of look like? What's your overview of like let's go football as a total, really?
Yeah. I played football pretty much my whole life. I've always played defense. I was a defensive end. And then when I came and started playing for semi-pro, I switched over to offense, played running back. I loved it. I loved scoring touchdowns. And I played against Tyler a few years, back when we were in our prime, or when I was in my prime, right? We could talk a little bit about that. But, it's I really do love the game, right? And now that I retired from playing last year. I had the birth of my son, and I just wasn't able to put the amount of work and the time in the gym as I used to be able to. And my mind still works sharp, and I want to be able to give back. And I don't want to take the opportunity away from some of these younger guys coming in when they can grow and have another play 15, 16 years like I did. So I kind of wanted to, step down and let other people take the mantle and, be able to give back as a coach. And, when the opportunity came up, so I was the offensive coordinator last year. And when the opportunity came to be the head coach, it was offered to me, and I couldn't say no. So I took it, and, it's been great since I've done that.
Now,
I will say though, the board reached out in our little board chat without Rizzi, asking who the head coach could be, and it was pretty unanimous. And we really didn't think of any backups before if he was going to say no.
So good, you didn't disappoint anybody then by not having any backups.
Nope.
So perfect.
It's still early to say disappoint anybody. We'll see how the season goes.
Well, what are your expectations for this season and kind of beyond as you're the new head coach?
So obviously we have the end of year season goal, which is obviously to win a championship, but it's more than that, right? We want to develop a program that's going to, give players the ability to come and play football, have no nonsense, commit to practice, because we don't get paid to play, right? We actually pay to play, right? To finance the team and to pay for fields and locker rooms and, equipment and all that stuff, right? So we have to pay to play. We want to be able to provide players the premier feeling of being a professional, right? We practice once a week. We have our Zoom meetings once a week to go over scheme. And then we have our game days, right? So I just want to be able to provide people the opportunity to have the ability to continue playing the sport that they love in a professional, semi-professional environment, right? I'm all about having fun, but when it comes down to, we're here to win. We're here to win games, and that's what I hope to bring to this team.
All right. Now, who is do you have a favorite NFL team? Do you have a favorite player? Anything like that?
So I will say this, right? I used to, growing up, so I'm 33. So growing up, I grew up a Patriots fan. But after my favorite player, Tom Brady, left, I have to say I was a Tom Brady fan. So I will be honest, right? So I do follow the Patriots. So Patriot way kind of thing, right? So, but that's where I stand on that.
Okay. Tyler, now, how many years have you played for the Destroyers, or any iteration of?
So, I think
we had this talk the other day.
I think this is my, 13th or 14th year in the league. It all starts to mesh together after 10 years and you get old. But I came to the Destroyers. So when they were a single A team, I actually learned about the Destroyers because they were undefeated, and the team that I was on at the time was undefeated, and we beat them in the playoffs and won the single A championship that year. But unfortunately, that team folded after that championship, so we kind of merged with GSD, and it was a great decision. I was there for about 2 or 3 years, and then I moved. And then I came back for, I believe, 2 seasons. So all in all, I think this will be my 5th year on GSD.
Okay. And what position do you play?
I play defensive end and a lot of other positions. I just choose not to because I'm old. But this year, I'm going to, I've known Rizzi for over 10 years. I've talked about helping out the team the best that I can. So I'm most likely going to help him out a little bit on the offense and play some tight end. And this big boy, Aaron, over here, if he gets a couple reps, running the football, he'll have a lead blocker in me as well.
take it. I'll take it.
So what is
I don't want to be on the other side of that ball.
What is it about the game of football that has always kind of attracted you to play it? What is it about the sport itself?
Well, for me, I mean, I grew up with a single father, so I kind of grew up with the independent, no bullshit mindset. And, he told me I was playing football at a young age. He was already coaching. He coached for about 20 years. So I started playing football at a young age. And just the contact. I mean, to be honest with you, it's a contact sport. So if you don't love the contact, you're in the wrong place. And just, football, as much as it's physical, it teaches you a lot of discipline that you can use on the field and off the field. For me, it's an outlet as well, but it's also, when Rizzi talks about growing this and Marina talks about the Pop Warner kids, I've continued to play at an older age because I have 2 children of my own that get to see their father be active and involved in sports and involved in team. And that's how they end up learning, and they both play football now as well. So it brings a family, and it brings you back. You want to say no, and I gave Rizzi crap for this the other day, actually, about not playing football anymore. But he's involved still. It's once you start it and once you commit to it, even at that young age, it's hard to give up.
Favorite team, favorite player?
Oh, man. So when I was a kid, I grew up in Massachusetts, and I grew up in Amesbury, Mass, actually. And when I was about 9 years old, I was a Patriots fan, and my favorite player was Drew Bledsoe. He showed up to my school and signed my jersey and everything, and then he got injured. And everybody was all about Tom Brady, and as a little kid, I was like, "Oh, fuck Tom Brady." So I became a Pittsburgh Steelers fan because that was always my number 2 team. So I've been a Steelers fan ever since I was 10 years old, roughly. And I got to say, I think James Harrison's probably my favorite player of all time.
I like it. All right.
Nice. All right. Aaron, how many years have you played for the Destroyers, or, again, any iteration of?
Well, 2019 was my first year, so I showed up when everything was primed to pop. So I got that championship and the national championship in the same year. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 4 years that I played.
Aaron, you got a nice little background though, on your little football background. And you should talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I did play in college, and then I went up to the CFL for a little bit, and then I played in the IFL. I played for the Green Bay Blizzard, Duke City Gladiators, for a while, and even went to camp with the San Jose SaberCats of the IFL when they were still there. So yeah, I definitely have played at some higher levels, not like the Big Show or anything like that, but did have some opportunities. Okay, yeah. So I did that for a while, and then stepped away for 4 or 5 years and didn't play. And one of my buddies was working at the gym. His name was Jake Powers. He kept on saying, "Oh, you should come out to this team and come to the practice." And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And then I didn't think I could take it seriously, and then I got hooked. I got completely hooked and never looked back. I played 4 consecutive years, and like Tyler was saying, I stepped away for 1 year and went to Marlboro to the Shamrock, and they're a good team, but I didn't realize that it was all about the family until I was gone, and I couldn't get back. They wouldn't let me. The commissioner wouldn't let me go back that year, so I was like blocked from coming back to GSD. And then, so I took last year off, and I just had to come back. I feel like I let the team down, and I owed them a year. And so here I am.
Now, what positions do you play? I know Tyler had mentioned you running back. Is that what you naturally play, or do you play naturally other positions?
No, it's funny. No, him and I are twin DNs. We both play defensive ends on either side of each other, whatever side that is. We flip flop. He said he wants the left side this year, so he's got it. We both play DN. But this year, I do want to run the rock. Nobody's going to tell me no. So
and Andrew,
stuff, I wanna run the rock. That's what's happening.
And Andrew, one of the things that I love about these two guys is they're both top tier defensive ends, right, in this league, and they both compete with each other. And when they're both in that competitive mindset, you can feel the energy of them trying to compete to make the play, right? They compete against the other team, but they also compete against each other. And I think that's one of the most exciting reasons why we have both of these guys. I mean, it's going to be exciting to watch. So for any fans that, are interested in watching the games, definitely look at the two edge rushers that we have, because they're going to make some noise this year for sure.
Yeah.
Now you guys have to, because I just hyped you guys up a little bit. So there's no excuse.
Well, the thing I respect about Tyler is that there's just we got like this hard hat mentality. Like, we don't give each other compliments. There's none of that. We chew each other out when somebody's not doing something right, and we keep each other honest, because everybody else would say, yeah, whatever you guys are doing is fine. But I like that I like and respect that he expects more from me at all times, and that keeps me sharp too. So that's what I like about playing with him and coming back to as well.
Nothing to add on that. The benefit of playing with Aaron is he makes my job easier on the other side. And also, he's disciplined. Like he said, we don't need to compliment each other, but we can have words with each other and it be taken as constructive criticism and trying to help each other instead of taking it the wrong way. That's where communication starts with a team. Understanding starts with a team, and then the next play, we benefit from that communication with each other. Whether he sees a mismatch, whether he likes one side or I like one side, we have that respect for each other and that communication with each other to make what works for the team.
Yep. Do you know what I find so funny is they say they don't compliment each other, but when they play together, they do, because they have that communication.
That's where it matters.
I mean, I found it funny that you said you didn't compliment each other and that you just did immediately after that. That was what I found funny.
All right, Tyler, I hate you.
This is a coming together moment.
Aaron, I'm running the rock.
This is the first step in team bonding. You guys are welcome.
Yeah, I like it. God. So good.
How many players do you typically have each season on a roster?
So we can have up to 6. So we're playing in the AAA division this year, so we can have up to 65. I believe we have 38 signed, right, Marina? Can you quote me on that?
It's 40 now, actually, because I just sent those contracts.
So we got 40 players signed. So we got 25 more spots to go.
Okay, everybody hear that? You get the spots open to play. Come out and play. Now, Marina, how did you get involved with this team? How did you find that there was a spot to do the social media and be a team manager or whatever title you want to give yourself on your ever-growing resume?
So this year I've been dubbed Chief Petty Officer. So that's my title this year. So one of my teammates, Cassia, has a friend that she went to high school with who is a veteran player for us, Adam Olson. And he actually came to our practices to help us out and, offer any tips that he had. And in return from him coming to our practices, he invited us to his practices. So for the first year that I was getting to know this team, I was actually actively practicing with them. And then, so I was going to the games, being a fan, just trying to absorb from these guys that have been playing a lot longer than I have as much as I could. And then this past year, I was talking to Scott Lebrecht, who was the former head coach, because a lot of the guys had mentioned to me that they wish there was more social media presence, and they knew that I was doing it for the Rebellion. So I asked Scott if that was an option to try and take it off their hands and try to elevate it. And he was all for it. So I signed up for that. And that actually rolled into doing the photos for them. And then being on the sideline so much, I kind of ended up being like a mom because they always forget something or don't know where something is. And then the literal night that GSD season ended in 2024, the team president, Cruz, texted me and said, I would really like to have you on the board for the next season. Are you interested? And my immediate answer was yes.
So you've kind of gone over a little bit earlier. I'll kind of have you say it again. What are the goals for the upcoming season for the person in your role? I know you said kind of community outreach. Is there anything else?
Community outreach, getting our name known in this state, between the two teams. The GSD is the only semi-pro men's team in New Hampshire. And then the Rebellion's the only women's one in New Hampshire. So those are very good titles to have, because teams that we play in Mass, there's almost all of them are Mass, except for one or two. And then Connecticut's got a bunch as well, and so does New York. So to say that you're the only is pretty great. And we mentioned that in the meeting too. So we're trying to build our fan base back up, have people come out to the games and support, because what a lot of people that I've found in the past, they think that football starts and ends with the NFL, and we're trying to show that it doesn't. I have football all year round, which I absolutely love, so I want other people to come support these local teams.
No, I mean, all of them great goals and, great goals for the team and everything else. One thing I know we kind of skipped over that I'm going to divert back really quick. Aaron, favorite team, favorite player? We're going to get you on record as well.
Yeah, I was going to come back around to that. But definitely for me, Von Miller in his prime, Denver Broncos.
Now, is that your favorite team as well as the Broncos?
Yeah, I'll go with that. I mean, I'd never seen anybody do the stuff that he was doing, just ghosting and bending the edge. And, he's like similarly built. I'm like similarly built to that guy. And I was just like, man, it's like it's an art. So, like watching him do what he does and what he did, especially in that time frame, absolutely insane.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to brag on this end, but, whereas the team used to play at the Norrock Fields, that's where my domain was, all right? The Norrock Vikings, when I was 3'0" and, nobody really, knew what they were doing at that point. But that's the extent that I have football, and now I'm just a bald guy that sits in a loft and has a podcast, so...
Hey, well, at least you give us a platform. You're giving us a platform, so you're doing more than you know.
Well, I appreciate it. And again, you guys, I appreciate your time. As far as being able to kind of piggyback off of something Marina said, whereas the football world doesn't end just with the NFL or college football. There's obviously a lot of different levels and for you guys to continue to keep playing and stuff like that and provide a space for those people that maybe didn't go to college or didn't go, to different teams or whatever, to have that still is a big deal. And so I hope to make it to a few games and be able to meet you guys and, continue the conversation and stuff. But it's pretty cool to have even sit here and talk to you guys. Like I still feel kind of like starstruck talking to people that continue to play the sport and continue to want to perform at a high level.
Yeah, well, that's not something that we hear every day. So I think that's just really an honor to even hear that we're actually inspiring people to, look outside of their age or whatever the case may be and just continue to push and just say, why not,
Yeah.
I think to extend on that, even if you're a fan of football, as a father, I have 2 children, a lot of us are dads in this league. You get genuinely football that's played out of love for the game. We don't make no money off of this. We spend money, like Rizzi was saying, to be able to play this game. So you get a football game that's purely out of the love and the passion for the football game out of all of us.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you see a lot of the, you don't get the stories of, holdouts or anything else like this that you'll get from a higher level. You got people that generally want to be there and be there for each other. And again, that's what the basis of sports is being there for the people that are next to you and everything else like that. So again, I commend all you guys. Coach Rizzi, again, what is it that, you want to see from the players outside? Obviously, you want to win and everything else like that. What do you want to see from the players as the season will go on?
Commitment and accountability. Those are my two messages that I talked about at our meeting that we had this past week. I'm very big on accountability and I'm very big on commitment. So, like I said, we have our Zoom meetings for offense and defense on Monday nights. Where we go over our game plan installs, play installs, schemes. We'll do film review once we get to the season or as we get closer to the season. Then we'll have practice on Wednesday nights at St. Anselm's College from 7 to 9, and then we have our game on Saturday. So my message to the team was, we all do this for the love of the game. So don't be a half foot in, half foot out kind of guy. I want everybody to be fully all in, because you can't trust the player next to you if the player next to you is only showing 50% effort, 20% effort. We all have to give 100% effort to, one, stay safe and stay healthy, but two, to win games, right? So those are my two messages for this year, are accountability and commitment.
Nice. Now, Marina, one more time, where can we find the Granite State Destroyers?
So you can find them on Facebook under Granite State Destroyers. We've actually been posting a lot recently with all of these new signings. My couple of my favorites were actually Tyler's and Aaron's, because it was on April Fool's Days and I got to make a bunch of puns, which made my little heart happy. Mm-hmm. So you can see all the players that are signing with us, and a lot of them interact with the page, so you can talk to them too. They'll comment with you. And then the NFL website will have all of the game schedules as well. And then once our website is up and running, you will have that too.
Do we have a date for the first game? Yep.
June 7th will be our first game. We just don't know if it'll be home or away or who we will play. The teams that we will be playing this year are the Worcester Wildcats, who play out of Worcester, the Mill City Eagles, who play out of Lawrence, the Haverhill Hitmen, who play out of Haverhill. We also play the Glens Falls, which are out of New York, Green Jackets. They won the NEFL 2 years ago. We play the Middleborough Cobras, who won the NEFL last year. We play the Boston Bandits, who we have a very good relationship and a good we play them tough every year. And then we also will be playing the Braintree Bombers.
So all pretty much Massachusetts and New Hampshire, except for, you said there was one team in New York?
Yeah, so basically all Massachusetts, with the exception of one New York team, and we are the only team in New Hampshire, and we will be playing at the AAA level.
All right. Now, again, I thank you guys very much for your time. I wish you all the luck, and again, I'll come out, and I'm sure Marina will force me in one way or another to come out and see a game. So I hope to see you guys.
Multiple games to go to, Tabo.
I do. I definitely do. But I appreciate you guys coming out, and like I said, this is, more than just kind of continuing just to play. You guys are, the camaraderie and everything else like that. It is very cool to me. And again, I would love to have you guys back on at any point in time. So we'll figure out something, and we'll talk throughout the season.
Mm-hmm. And again, I just want to say thank you to Marina for setting this up and putting us in connection with you. And just to talk about why I chose Aaron and Tyler to jump on with me. They both are veterans to the league. They both are veterans to the team. They both left the team and they both came back. and they both have committed to taking leadership responsibilities on and off the field with the team as well to help mentor these kids. So I just wanted to invite them on here to talk a little bit about them with us, so that they can tell people what they're about, and we're excited to have them back along with all of the other 40 guys on our roster.
41. Hicks just sent his in too.
41. Look at that.
Spots are going quick.
Yes, sir.
All right. Again, thank you very much for your time, everybody. And we'll be in touch. And like I said, you're more than welcome to reach out to myself. You can talk to Marina how to do so. And again, if you want to come in and talk just football of any sort of capacity where we're talking through the NFL season or whatever, you want to be experts, I'm more than willing to have you guys on. So I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for doing this, Papa.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great discussion there with the head coach, Raymond Rizzi, Tyler Jameson, and Aaron Davis, both players, and the team manager, Marina Dickey from the Granite State Destroyers. We wish them all the best of luck this year, and hopefully we'll have them on recurring throughout the season. Shifting gears a little bit, we're going to turn to some sporting news, and as of last night, the big news is Alexander Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals in the NHL has tied Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals mark with 894. He's been on quite a tear over the last week and a half to really I think he scored in probably about 5 straight games. And last night he had an opportunity to do it with an empty net and refused to go in and score the record-tying or record-breaking goal on an empty net, which is a testament to him as a player, willing to keep kind of the integrity of this chase to legitimate goals. I mean, obviously he's had quite a few empty netters throughout his career, but so did Wayne Gretzky. And, they're right about the same amount of time as far as games played. I believe that Ovechkin has one less game. So if he scores in the next one, he'll have done it in almost exactly the same amount of games that Wayne Gretzky did it. Now, the stat that's really amazing when you're talking about Wayne Gretzky is at this point in time, he's still 800 points above Ovechkin, because Wayne Gretzky had almost 2,000 assists, whereas Ovechkin has 724. He's still a ways away from anybody passing him as far as total points, which is absolutely outrageous that he's that far ahead from the person that's almost in second place. I believe the top point total past him is Jaromir Jagr, who played in 300 more games, and he's still 900 more points behind him. For tonight's games, we have the Final Four for the men's tournament. You have Florida and Auburn, both SEC teams. And then on the other side, you have Duke and Houston, all 4 number 1 seeds. They're playing tonight. Last night, UConn destroyed UCLA to get to the NCAA tournament final against South Carolina, who's looking to go back-to-back as NCAA tournament champions. So the women's game, UConn and South Carolina, probably the 2 premier clubs, or 2 premier schools, I should say, with the 2 premier coaches, Don Staley for South Carolina and Gino Auriemma for UConn. In the world of basketball, Carmelo Anthony and Dwight Howard are the 2 headliners for being elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame. I don't necessarily think that Dwight Howard is a Hall of Famer. He's probably on the cusp, and again, I don't have a vote, so that is kind of the predicament that I'm in. I'm just giving you an opinion. But he played for a lot of teams. He averaged about 15 points a game, or 15.7 points a game, and had 11.8 rebounds in his NBA career in 18 seasons. Not exactly Hall of Fame numbers to me. So I'm not really sure where these votes came from. And I address it in another episode too, so you're going to hear this a couple of times. That's just my opinion. Obviously, they don't ask me. But Dwight Howard made it to the Hall of Fame, along with Carmelo Anthony. Some other big news in sports. Julio Jones has officially retired from the NFL. He was a 7-time Pro Bowler. Again, there will be discussions for him for the NFL Hall of Fame. And then more kind of Loftside banter news. We like I said last time, we have loftsidebantr.com. We are reaching out to different sports teams around, as we kind of did here with the Granite State Destroyers. We're looking at the Massachusetts Pirates and having interviews with them. They're part of the Indoor Football League, which is very cool. They have some former NFL players on their roster as well. And then we're still working on branching out for gaming and doing some more movie content. We're going to have some top 5 lists coming up with some friends of mine and family members. And so that should be kind of cool and coming up as well. We're starting to put some episodes together at least a few days in advance, whereas I'm not just recording and then putting it out. So we're starting to build, which is very cool. And I appreciate all the people that have helped kind of grow this to where it is. Again, we're only a couple months in. So there's still plenty of room to go. There's still plenty of room to have some fun and kind of tweak some stuff. And as we kind of go along that process, we'll let you know what we're doing. But again, thank you to everybody as we continue to motor along. And with that, I'm going to sign off and say have a good night, good morning, whatever time it is. This has been Loftside Bantr, and we'll see you soon.